recording.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
Now at the end, I'll talk you through that just to make sure that make sure something sticks there. Uh, yeah. Anyways, all right. Go ahead and show me that step 4 on your SharePoint wiki then.
Okay.
Okay. Analysis, measurement of internal business process. We've identified 4 problems in the internal marketing campaign: bottlenecks, handoffs, paper records, quality control.
Because those items are actually from table 3-1 from checklist.
Right. Yeah, and I identify them as such. All right, so my first feedback, and maybe you've got this written further down, and I will acknowledge that as I read down. The first feedback I give you is if you've identified a problem, a business process problem like a bottleneck, part of what you need to do is also say, so if a bottleneck is a problem, here is the specific bottleneck. So a narrative, kind of like a definition of the bottleneck in this process, that's what you would need to essentially add there.
Okay.
Because if you say there's a bottleneck, it's like, okay, so what is it? So you say what it is, and yeah. So anyways, that's my first feedback. Um, so you've got those one, two, three, and four, and I wouldn't disagree with you at all. Those would be four four problems with the internal marketing campaign for the ICT program. They just need to be defined.
Okay.
All right. Since the scope of the problems are too big for discussion, we picked the quality control process. We only picked the quality control process. The quality control process would measure each of the following processes: speaker process, video process, web offering process. Okay, so I guess the question I have then, Danny, because the name of this project is Creative Solutions Using CRM, how do you think you can improve the speaker process, the video process, and the web offering process using the CRM?
Yeah, okay. Uh, so we're not measuring the process to see how effective it is. I mean,
No, you're going to measure the process and how effective it is, but you got to remember that part of this overall process redesign is guiding you into something that does happen in the CRM system. So I wouldn't disagree with issues in the overall internal marketing campaign process related to speaker, related to video, and the web offerings. If you think about that, those are all in a sense marketing materials that lend themselves to helping the students understand and ultimately, hopefully, from our perspective, gain an interest in the 28 or one or more of the 28 ICT offerings available at UW Stout.
right.
So I acknowledge that as being potentially part of the part of the problem in the process that could be improved. But you also need to understand that there is what I've identified to you as your client, a substantial problem regarding how to handle results. I mean, if nothing changed with the speaker and nothing changed with the video and nothing changed with the web offering process,
Right.
I still have problems with survey results. So, for example, this semester, and I'll give you this example, of our 375 students who could have taken the survey, 305 of them did. 50 of them basically said they were interested in nothing, so that eliminated them from any follow up. Another 50 identified themselves as, yeah, I showed interest in something, but I really don't want to talk about it. So that brings us down to 200 students approximately who are interested in something. And so then I've got those 200 students, which I have to go through two distinct individual manual processes. So one of those processes means, okay, first of all, of the 28 possible options of ICT at UW Stout, 22 of those don't belong to me. So what I have to do is I have to take that Excel spreadsheet, and I'm pretty proficient with Excel spreadsheets, so I'll do some sorting and I'll move essentially identify those individual students who are interested in a given specific ICT program. I'll get those to the top of my Excel spreadsheet. I'll do a copy and paste and put it into a new standalone Excel workbook, and then I'll send it off essentially to the person who owns the particular program. Like say, for example, if I've got 50 students who are interested in computer science is not a program I own. So I'm going to copy and paste all those folks that are interested, put them in their own, send it to the program director for that program.
Okay.
So I do that 22 times, and that takes me, I'm pretty proficient and efficient. So I got 22 of those times 5 minutes per approximately. So do the math with that. That's essentially the measure part, by the way. It takes me a fair amount of time to do that. And I have to find time to do that. And I can tell you at this point, Danny, for this semester, to my disappointment, I haven't done that yet for those people.
Well,
So that's a problem. Now, I do have 6. Now, back to the manual, paper-based, the bottlenecks, handoffs kind of stuff that are problematic. I have 6 programs which I do have control, 6 of the 28. And I haven't done anything with those either, but I do a very similar process. I'll pull those people that are interested in, for example, the BSICT, Enterprise Technology Minor, Web Technology Minor, and so forth, the things that I've got direct control of. And I'll create a mail merge note to each of those students saying, hey, I see you have an interest in, ICT BS or enterprise technology, whatever.
right.
I'll give them a link saying, hey, look here for some more information. Then I'll also say at the end, would you like to set up an appointment so I can tell you what your career opportunities are in this particular program? I've represented as far as that manual process and that area. About 15 minutes for the first email, and then about 5 minutes after that, because I'll use a lot of copy and paste. So that ends up being, 6 total mail merges that I'll do based on students that are interested in programs I have control of.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say in this, I'm giving you a lot of information you haven't asked for at this point, perhaps.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm seeing in this analysis part is you're focusing in an area that I would agree with you that there are some problems, and you should spell those out as far as the analysis of the overall process, but you have to consider where you're ultimately going to be going. This solution that I'm looking for is more so than anything else something that's going to end in the CRM. At least part of it will. I mean, if we had all times and I was paying you folks to do revision of my videos or dealing with the speakers differently,
Mm-hmm.
or how we deal with the web offerings,
Yeah.
heck, we'd be all over that. That'd be part of what you do as a consulting group helping out the ICT program, but that's
Right.
a little beyond the scope of my intent of this project.
Okay. So for this step, I am just looking to identify the problem and then find a way to fix them, right? To make them more efficient.
Right, because ultimately first of all, I want to acknowledge and affirm that you folks looking at the entire process and even identifying those things that I had at least assumed were good, I acknowledge that, and it really is very reflective of what the process mapping in step 3 was.
Mm-hmm.
What was ultimately done there was quite detailed, more detailed than any group in this entire course. And so acknowledging and seeing those things, I'm going to tell you straight up, I think you were right on. But ultimately, the expectation is that something also is going to come out in the CRM. Now, if you've got some funky way of dealing with speaker process, video process, and web offering process in the CRM, I am open to that. But I'm going to just assume that you folks are thinking about handling those particular things differently. And you could make recommendations for that. That would be a part of step 5. That would be very appropriate. But understand, I have an expectation that you're going to do something in the CRM because the CRM, as far as dealing with manual processes, has a lot of capability as far as automation in a lot of those things that I'm doing manually.
Okay. So I mean, one of the solution would to automate some of those processes, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. But again, I just want to affirm what you're saying as far as the other components of this overall process. You should make those recommendations in your step five. But as far as what you're building, you're going to be creating a CRM prototype as far as the overall part of step five and the conclusion of this project. Um, you're going to need to demonstrate some automation of a part of the process of the internal marketing campaign. Not everything, because we just don't have time.
Right. Okay. So what I need to fix is uh, demonstrate how to improve the process and also show how some process can be automated.
Right, exactly. So I gave, and again, going back and listening to this video again, I think is going to be helpful to understand. But the area that you're going to be able to really get you're going to be able to leverage a CRM on is in the part where after I've got survey results, I've got two different paths that I take to deal with the results. There's the 22 other programs which I pass off as individual Excel workbooks,
Hmm.
students who are interested in those programs because I don't control those. And the other one is with the six programs I do have control over, and essentially sending out those emails through the use of email, excuse me, a mail merge. Um, yeah, so that's where ultimately you're going to do something as far as your CRM prototype.
Okay. I think I am getting the idea.
Okay, okay, good. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read out loud just the rest of what you've got here, and I'll just start it after the where you say since the scope of problems are too big for discussion, we're only picking the quality control process. Um, so ideas for measurement in this case is lack of quality of control to follow up on potential students. I don't disagree with that. To measure the process, for example, we know that the number of students is 100 and we want to double that amount. By the way, as of last spring, that amount was 150, so we want to double. Thinking about the goal of the ICT program is to double its online enrollment. And I kind of want that as well as far as a face-to-face. Anyways,
Okay.
to, to calculate the successful ratio of the process, we would take the number of ICT students that join in the final, for example, 150 students, divide that by the target number, 200 students, multiply it times 100. All right, that could potentially be a measure kind of with the big picture goal. Certainly, that's one of the metrics, Danny, and I'm glad you're identifying that. But remember, when we look at the business process itself, there are things more specific, like what I described and how much time it takes me to send out 22 lists to other program directors, or how long it takes for me to send out emails to each student who's involved within the realm that I control.
Right.
Budget standpoints, if the we do nothing, the IC will spend the same amount of money. Meanwhile, if we do something to the ICT program, we could spend this X amount of money and get more students into the program. Budgeting, I think, is okay to consider. Really, from the perspective of what we've got with budget, everything is kind of constant at this point, especially with the internal marketing campaign. It is something that goes along with the ICT 103 course. We already have a CRM system in place. We just need to essentially we have to create or essentially build this process, this campaign into the platform, which is our department CRM, which we just got.
Right.
All right, I don't think I have anything more to value or to add there with this. Do you have any more thoughts, or you just need some time to kind of review this video and think about things?
I need some time to
Okay.
review it.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and get this video rendered for you. In the lower right corner of our chat again, you should see the ellipse. Go ahead and,
This one?
yep, click on that and go to stop recording.